Hey folks, Christina here. We are going to start Excel 4-2 now. And I will make a note for this project. You will want to make sure that you have just read through and saved the text file. This is going to be in step number 9. So there's a text file in your course shell that you'll need in order to do the rest of this project. So I'll offer a pause when we get to that point in this pause and practice if you need to go and save that. But if you want to get it now, I would go ahead and recommend you do that. All right, let's get started. We're going to start with step number 2, and it asks us to select our sort and filter sheet, and we're going to select cell A5. Then we're going to use a number autofiller. So we're going to click our filter button up at the top, and then you'll see we have these little autofillers that show up for us. We're going to click the auto filter for the at $225 average. Then we're going to go and hover over number filters, and we're going to choose between. I'm just going to move this dialog box out of the way of our data. And step D tells us that in the greater than or equal to area, we're going to put 60,000 without a comma. And in the less than or equal to, we're going to put 70,000 without a comma. Then we're going to press OK. And you can see we sorted that data where it is less than or equal to 70,000 and greater than or equal to 60,000. Moving on to step number 4, we're going to click the Advanced Filter tab. And step number 5 just asks us to type in some data. So we're going to type in cell K7. We're going to type MI. And in K8, we're going to type WI. So we're just adding some information in that we're going to use to build a search query here in just a moment. So we'll do 3 and 3 and L7 and L8 as our instructions tell us to. Now that we've got that, we can run an advanced filter. We're going to click cell A5 again, and then we're going to click the advanced button, which is on our data tab and under our sort and filter group. And letter C tells us we are going to select the copy to another location. We're going to verify that the cells A4 to F28 with absolute reference are in the list range. They are. Then I'm going to move my dialog box because it's covering up where I need to select from for our criteria range. So for our data range, we're going to choose cells K6 to L8. So I'm just going to highlight K6 to L8, and you'll notice that our advanced filter is automatically selected, and it's set up as an absolute reference for us. We'll click our Copy To box, and we're going to choose cells I11 to N11. So I'm going to move my box again so it'll be out of the way. And we're going to choose I11 over to N11. So that's where we're going to copy it to. It's got our advanced filter and our absolute reference. We'll double check that. Then we'll click OK. Now you can see I13 here. The information is not fitting in the cell. So we can fix that by doing an auto fit. And to do the auto fit, remember we just click in between the columns, or excuse me, hold our insertion point in between the columns and then double click with our left mouse clicker. That auto fits our column for us. Next, we're going to move on to number 7. So we'll show subtotals in a list. We're going to click the subtotals sheet tab. So that's down here at the bottom. You can see right now we don't have any subtotals. We've just got our state data sorted. So what we're going to do is we're going to click a cell in the location column. Doesn't matter which one you can click any cell. And we're going to click the sort A to Z button, which is on our data tab, and then our sort group. So it's the A to Z filter here. We're going to do the same thing for the state. So we can click any label in the state column. We're going to sort that data A to Z. So now we have our information organized by location and then by state. Next, we're going to select cell A5 and we're going to click the subtotal button, which is in the data tab and the outline group. Now, if you haven't read about outlines yet, I would encourage you, pause the video, check out your book. Outline starts on page E4-314. So again, we're going to select cell A5, which we've done, and then we're going to go to our data tab and our outline group, and we're going to click subtotal. So our outlines group is over to the right, and we can see subtotal here. So we're just going to click that. Now, I'm going to scoot my dialog box over. We've got to tell it how we want to subtotal this. How do we want this data organized? So we're going to verify that under use function sum is selected. It is. Then we're going to select days rented last year and at $225 average in our add subtotal to list box. Then we're going to click OK, and our subtotals are highlighted out for us. Okay, I'm going to back us up just a moment because I missed a step. On 7D, we were to choose, or excuse me, 7G, we were to choose the state where we highlight our subtotals. So no problem. We can just go back up to subtotal. I'm going to scoot this over. Where it says at each change, we're just going to click state there. We'll keep our use function sum. We'll keep our two highlights, and then we'll click OK. And now we have subtotals built into our spreadsheet. Next, we're going to format our outline results. And what we're going to do is essentially we're moving our subtotals over to the A column. And we're going to start with cell C7. We're just going to cut this and we're going to paste it over into the A corresponding column location. So we hopefully all remember how to do the cut and paste. Now, our instructions on number 8, letter B, ask us to do this same format to each of our state totals. So I'm going to pause this real quick and I will move those over and we'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, so I've got almost all of those those totals moved over, but I wanted to make sure you catch on the instructions. We're also going to be moving the last two on row 36 and 37. So I'm just going to cut those together and paste those over. Okay, now we've got all of our subtotals moved over. Next, our instructions ask us to select cells A36 to G37 and apply all borders. But before we do that, we're going to select all of those moved cells we just did. And so if you remember, you can hit Control as you click through, and that will allow you to highlight each of these items we just moved. And we're going to right align them by clicking the Home tab. And then in our alignment group, we'll just click the Align Right. And then we're ready for a 36 to G37. So we'll do that. And we're going to put all borders around those cells. Next, on letter E, we're going to go over and click the level 2 outline. So your outline is showing over on the left side of your worksheet. When we click the level 2, which is that tiny little 2 in the box in the middle, you can see that it reduces or condenses all of our outline. Now, we can go and hit those plus signs to expand everything back out if we needed to or wanted to. But for ease visually, what we're about to do is hide rows B and E according to letter F on number 8. So if you remember previously, we learned how to hide and unhide. I'm just going to click on column B, then I'm going to right click my mouse. I'm going to go down and then left click on the word hide. I'll do the same thing for E. So I'm just right clicking to highlight. My menu comes up, and then I'm going to left click on hide. Now, let's say that, oops, I hid the wrong things. I didn't, but let's say I did. You can unhide everything by highlighting an area, right-clicking to get your pop-up menu, and then going down to left-click on unhide. So then you can see B and E columns show up for me again. So I'm just going to hide those really quick so we can be on the right spot. And we're going to move next to number 9. So number 9 is where we're going to need that text file. So you want to make sure that you've got that saved and that you're ready to import that. So I'll pause for just a moment. You can pause your viewing and go make sure you have that text file. Okay, so let's take a look at number 9. We're going to select cell A5 on the text import tab. So down at the bottom, make sure you have the right tab, because if you import the data into the wrong tab, you'll just have to take it out and do the step over again. Okay, so then we're going to click from text or CSV, which is on our data tab. So we'll go to our data tab, and over at the top left, you can see one of our options for getting and transforming data is from text CSV. So I'm clicking that, and it may take just a minute for your computer to open your file. I've got my file here, so I'm just going to click that file, and then I'm going to choose import. And it's going to take a couple of minutes to get that information over to me. Okay. Now, letter E, number 9, says we're going to click Transform Data to start the Power Query. The data displays with a default header row. So down at the bottom here, I'm just going to click Transform My Data. So it's thinking, it's doing its thing. Okay, so now that we've got our data we can look at, what we're going to do is manage some data in this Power Query. The first thing we're going to do is click on the Remove Rows button. So that is on our Home tab. And then you can see we've got Remove Columns, Keep Rows, Remove Rows. We're going to be working at removing rows, but I want to show you something first. Down at the bottom, we're going to be looking at some rows down here to remove. So let's click Remove Rows, and our instructions say we're going to remove bottom rows, and the last 3 lines of our data all have Missouri records. So those are the 3 that we're wanting to remove. We're just going to choose Remove Bottom Rows. And then our system is going to think about it for just a second, and then it's going to say, how many rows do you want to remove from the bottom? Well, for us, our instructions say we're going to remove those 3 Missouri rows. So we're going to click enter the number 3 and then click OK. And that removes our rows for us. So we don't have that those Missouri records in there anymore. Now we're going to load the data from this Power Query worksheet, which is what we're working in now. And we do that by clicking the arrow over to the left side of your screen. There's a close and load. When you click that little arrow, you're going to see 2 options, close and load or close and load to. We want to choose close and load to so that we can give it a location to put this information. In step C, it asks us to verify that table is selected. It is. It asks us to click on or select existing worksheet. And then it says confirm that A5 shows up with an absolute reference. It does. And then we're going to click OK. And it takes just a moment to get that data into our table. All right. And next, I'm just going to click Got It on this little pop-up bubble so that that will go away. Next, we're going to move on to step number H, which is just formatting some of that data for us. Okay, so next our instructions tell us that we're going to select cells A4 through F4. So these are our cells that actually have our correct table, or excuse me, correct cell information. And we're going to basically paste those just right below. Okay, now That made it kind of look messy, but we're going to just fix up our formatting. So we're going to set the width of column F to 12. And we can do that a couple of different ways. You can actually manually put this to 12. Or if that kind of drives you a little bit crazy trying to get right to 12, no problem. You can go up to format, and then we're going to change the column width here. We can just put it to 12, then we'll press enter. Then it says we're going to select the height of row 5 to 34. So we'll click on this. And then we're going to go format our row height, and that is going to go to 34. And then we're going to delete row 4. So you can just right click after you've selected that, and you can choose delete, and it will remove that cell, or excuse me, that row for you. And then we're going to select cells A4 to F25. So we'll go down and we'll grab down to F25. And we're going to put all borders. Mine was already selected as all borders. If yours is not, just remember you can do that drop down and then go to all borders. I'm also just going to close this queries and connections pane over to the side there. Next, it says we're going to select cell A1, and then we are good to go. So we're going to save this file. So this is going to be our Excel 4-2 completed with our imported data. Good job on this one. This one was a little bit lengthy, but don't forget to save, and then we'll be back to do E4-3 together shortly.